Hi, welcome to today's slow flow. For today's practice, you're gonna want 2 blocks and we're gonna get started in a reclined position. Bringing one of those blocks with you, just so it's within reaching distance. And then lower down to your back body. Soles of the feet point up towards the sky. You might have your feet a little wider, letting knees knock in. Maybe you feel best with feet at hip distance. No version is better than the other. Just taking whichever one feels easier in your body. Hands can rest on your belly or down by your hips if that feels grounding. Giving yourself a few moments just to settle into your practice. Notice the natural rhythm of your breath. It might start to slow just a bit here, and letting that happen as it feels right for you. Kind of sinking into the space, noticing anything you may be bringing with you to your mat today. Perhaps to-do list items are buzzing around, thinking about things that need to get done, things you've finished, and just noticing. Reminding yourself here you've committed to this time on your mat. So allowing yourself to be fully present here. Not judging when your mind starts to wander, just nudging it back. It's part of the practice. If you've taken your feet wider, you can bring them towards hip distance now. And then taking your block at a height that feels supportive, I would say start with the lowest or medium setting. Lift your hips just high enough to slide that block under your sacrum. Supported bridge. Hands resting on your belly for a moment. Then right knee hugs in towards the chest. Left leg extends long, heel resting on the mat. Hands might rest on the top of that right shin or behind the right thigh. Letting that left heel be heavy. Stretching out that left hip flexor. Just giving it a little love here. Give yourself 2 more rounds of breath right where you are. When that's complete, left sole of the foot comes back to the mat and then right foot lowers down. Other side, left knee hugs into the chest and that right leg extends long. Again, let the right heel be heavy, letting gravity do the work to give the front of that right hip a little extra attention and love. Which is also how my husband would describe what I need. And that's fine. Next breath, right sole of the foot lowers back down, left foot meets it. Pausing here for a moment. Then lift your hips just high enough to slide that block out from under your sacrum. Lower your hips back down. You might gently knock the knees side to side, little windshield wipers here. Not for too long, but pausing in center, knees point up towards the sky. Hands resting down by your hips. Inhale, lift your hips for bridge pose. Engaging the glutes. Core is engaged here. Maybe you even interlace your fingers, walking your shoulders under you, knuckles pressed towards the heels. Holding here, remembering with these slow flows, we're still finding that strength. Another full round of breath of engagement. And then slowly lower back down to the mat. Shoulders walk out from under you, knees hug into the chest. And in 2 or 3 breaths, make your way to a seated pose. However you choose to get there is lovely. You can rock and roll over to one side. Pausing here in a seat. Inhale, sit up nice and tall. Exhale to walk your hands forward. Easy seat forward fold. Chin hugs towards the chest. Here for just a moment. Then walk your hands back in, lifting your upper body out of that shape. Now extend your legs long, slightly different version. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale to fold forward. Bringing a generous bend to those knees. Opposite hand, opposite elbow under the knees if that's available. Or maybe it feels better to rest your hands on your shins. Letting that upper body be heavy. You might notice this fold feels different than when we had our legs in that easy seat. May feel easier for your body to be heavy, your upper body, I should say. Maybe it feels a little tighter in those hamstrings. All of this, we're just noticing, learning a bit more about our bodies. Next breath, press up to a seated position. That sounds like the start of that 6th grade class you have to take about learning about your bodies. It's not what I was going for. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. And then bring your blocks within reaching distance towards the top of your mat. From tabletop here, start with some spine warm-up. You might shift your hips side to side, or on inhales, drop your belly, lift your gaze. Exhale, round the spine. Whatever movement feels good for you. Again, moving at the pace that feels right. Listening to your body here. Pause when you get back to a typical tabletop shape, crown of the head points forward. Then step your right foot between your hands, sliding those blocks under your hands to support you. Tuck your back toes and sink your hips back for half splits. That right leg extends long. Blocks are at a height here that feels stable and supportive. Nice long spine here, giving those hamstrings a little love. Now a little movement here, but it will have some big sensation. Start here pointing your toes towards the front of the mat. Maybe your toes even tap the mat, but you don't have to force it. The next breath, flex your toes up towards the face. So inhale, you'll point forward. Exhale, you'll flex. Give yourself a few more rounds here. Working at your own pace. This is great for ankle mobility, strengthening those muscles around that joint, but also helping us increase that range of motion. Pausing next time your foot is flexed. Inhale, plant the front foot, bend into that front knee, hips press forward just as far as feels good. Then hands back to the mat. Tabletop as we set up for the other side. Left foot steps between the hands, blocks on either side of the foot. Tuck your back toes and sink your hips back. Again, find that height of blocks that feels right for you. It might not match the other side. Starting with the toes flexed towards the face. Then on an inhale, point the toes forward. Exhale, flex that foot back towards your face. Inhale to point. Exhale, flex. Continue at your pace of breath. And I should say, I tuck my back toes. You don't have to. It's wherever you feel more stable. So untucked is totally fine. Give yourself one more round wherever you are. And then we'll pause with toes flexed at the face once more. Inhale, bend into that front knee, hips press forward, low lunge just as far as feels good. Then hands to the mat, return to tabletop. Block, shift out of the way here. Walk your hands forward about a handprint. Tuck your toes, and then peel your hips up towards the sky, pressing into both hands equally. We're here for just a moment today. Then bend the knees. Knees come to the mat, toes stay tucked. Walk your hands back towards your body, plantar stretch. Hips on the heels. Walk your hands forward. Find downward facing dog, peeling those hips towards the sky. We'll shift between these two shapes. Now this pose can also be called broken toe pose. So if it feels too intense, you might keep some weight in the hands. Again, you're just working at your own pace and rhythm, but a great way to warm up the hamstrings and ease into that plantar stretch. Again, maybe this is your expression of plantar stretch. Maybe just having the toes tucked in tabletop is enough. Those soles of the feet can be real stubborn as we're trying to increase just a little, not even flexibility, just, a little softness in there. So give them some time. We'll meet next time you're in downward facing dog, not rushing to get there. Pedaling out your dog, maybe you shift your hips side to side. Next, inhale, bend your knees and look forward. Exhale, step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, find a half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, hang heavy. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, root through your feet, reach up towards the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Maybe you flutter those toes here, driving the heels into the mat. Inhale, arms reach up, you can look up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold. Pausing here, opposite hand to opposite elbow. You might sway side to side. Maybe you bring a little more bend to the knees, opposite hand to opposite elbow behind the knees. Head hangs heavy. Letting gravity do some work to give our hamstrings some attention here. Next breath, release any bind or grip. Inhale, half lift, long legs, flat back. Exhale, fold, hang heavy. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, root through your feet, reach up towards the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up, you can look up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, forward fold, working with that breath. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank position. Inhale and plank on toes or knees. Exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Elbows stay hugged in, untuck your toes. Inhale, lift your heart for cobra. Just as high as feels good, keeping a nice bend to those elbows. Next breath, lower back down. Inhale, press up to your plank, toes or knees. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now you can stay here. This is great for the hamstrings. Keeping as much of a bend in the knees here as feels good to keep those hips lifted. Focus more on a long spine than straight legs. Or if your body's looking for a little rest or some love for the hips, find a child's pose. No right or wrong, whatever works for you. About 2 more rounds of breath where you choose to be. Inhale, sweep your right leg towards the sky. Exhale, step it between your hands, crescent. Arms frame the face. Toes point towards the top of the mat. Now we might have a slightly shorter crescent here, so hop that back foot in just like half a footprint. On an inhale, straighten your front leg, hands come back by your hips. Exhale, hinge forward, flying pyramid. Real active shape here as you root down through your front foot. Back heel presses towards the back wall. Ball of that back foot pressing into the mat. Squeezing your shoulder blades together. One more moment here. Then fold into pyramid. Hands can come to the mat or blocks if the mat feels far away. Letting the upper body be heavy and round here. Nose points towards the knee. Low body is still nice and supportive. One more breath. Inhale, bend into your front knee. Return to crescent, arms frame the face. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to plank position. Full breath in plank, heels press behind you, crown of the head reaches forward. Next breath, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep left leg to the sky. Exhale, step it between your hands, crescent pose. Again, finding your base where you feel stable, but maybe just a bit shorter. On an inhale, straighten that front leg, hands back by your hips, hinge forward, flying pyramid. Strong pose here, crown of the head reaches forward, fingertips reach back, squeeze the shoulder blades. A lot happening here. One more breath. Then fold into pyramid. Hands to blocks or mat. Keeping that low body nice and strong, but upper body is soft and heavy here. Give yourself some time, nose points towards the knee. Next breath, release the blocks if you're using them. Bend into that front knee, back to crescent. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step back to plank position. Full breath in plank, pressing away from the mat. Shoulder blades slide away from each other. Then hips up and back. Downward facing dog. 2 rounds of breath here. We'll flow through that sequence once more with a bit added on. Inhale, sweep right leg to the sky. Exhale, step it between the hands, crescent. We won't hold each shape quite as long, but still giving yourself time. Back foot hops in a bit. Straighten the front leg, hands back by your hips. Hinge forward. Full breath in pyramid, or flying pyramid, I should say. Strong back body. Then fold into the shape. Nose points towards the knee. Upper body is nice and heavy. Give yourself a moment. Then bend into your front knee. Arms come up to frame the face. Shift forward. Warrior 3. Crown of the head reaches forward. Arms can stay reaching in front of you. Back toes point down towards the mat. Give yourself a full breath here. We're gonna lift out of the shape. Upper body begins to lift up. Left knee hugs into the chest. Standing balance. Fingertips reach towards the sky. Flex in those left toes. Next breath, step back to crescent, toes to the mat, hands to the mat, low lunge. Step right back to down dog. Hips nice and lifted. Inhale, sweep left leg to the sky. Exhale, step it between your hands, crescent on the other side. Maybe a little shorter. Fingertips stay reaching towards the sky. Then straighten the front leg, hands back by hips. Hinge forward. Strong back body. Strong low body. Next breath, fold. Head hangs heavy, nose points towards the knee. Breathing into wherever you feel that sensation. Bend into your front knee, return to crescent. As you're ready, hinge forward, power lunge or arrowhead, then pour your weight into your front foot. Warrior 3. Long body here, fingertips reach forward, back heel presses away from you. Keeping that length here. Inhale, lift your upper body, right knee hugs into the chest. Bending that knee, flexing the right foot. Fingertips reach, left foot roots down, a lot happening. Then next breath, right leg extends long behind you, hands to the mat, low lunge. Step right back to down dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, bend the knees, look forward. Exhale, step or hop to the top of your mat. Inhale, find a half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, hang heavy. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, root through your feet, reach up towards the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. Now a few options here. We're going into what's called dancing Shiva, which is very fun. Pour your weight into your left foot, then right foot lifts off the mat just like that standing balance. This is where the dancing part comes in, it gets fun. Left hand comes to the outside of that right knee. Right hand can reach behind you. Now you are welcome to stay here. If you are feeling real fancy, real fun, you might wrap your peace fingers around that big toe. Play with extending that leg forward. Wobble, wiggle, fall out as you need to. Breathing here. Whew, that's tight on my hamstrings. Give yourself your time. Wherever you are, maybe you're here. Maybe you have that leg extending. One more breath. Whew, don't fall over. And release back to center. Pedal it out. You can shift side to side, spirit fingers, whatever solo dance party you need. That was mine. As you prepare for the other side. Face this way, let's help out. Pour your weight into your right foot. Left foot becomes light. Again, hands can be here at your heart, or bring that right hand outside the knee. Left arm reaches back. This is great. This is lovely. Stay here, embrace that balance challenge. Maybe you play with extending that leg long. You don't even have to have your toes in that peace finger grip. You can just play with extending it long. Or bring peace finger to those big toes, extending the leg. I'm working here to keep my heart lifted. It's not perfect, but working on it. Wherever you are, find that nice tall upper body. Bending in and out of this shape, falling in and out of it as you need to. Here for just 2 more rounds of breath. Allow yourself to be wherever you need to, fall out if you need to, and release. Pedal out the legs, spirit finger, solo dance party. Then pause into Tadasana, feet at hip distance, arms reach towards the floor. Take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. One more, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. Exhale, hinge at your hips, forward fold. Inhale, find a half lift, flat back. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop back to plank position. Inhale and plank. Nice, slow lower to the mat. Aiming for 2 full breaths here, so as slow as you can lower down. Eventually, chest, hips, knees all meet the mat. Untuck your toes and take your feet nice and wide. Then lift your heart for cobra here. Just as high as feels good. We'll hold for just 1 cycle of breath. And lower back down. Creating a little pillow with your hands. Rest your forehead on the back of palms. Now you might play here with bending one knee and then the other towards the glutes. Or stay in stillness. Check in with your back body. If another cycle of back bending would feel good, lift your upper body for Sphinx. If this wouldn't feel good, don't do it. Elbows press into the mat, palms press into the floor. Pulling those ears away from your shoulders. So we're not looking to crank our head up towards the sky, but find some length here. I've kept my feet nice and wide. My toes are even all the way off the mat. That feels good in my low back, but if you feel better with your feet closer, bring your feet closer. Listen to your body. One more full breath wherever you choose to be. Then lower back down, returning to that crocodile shape. Forehead rests on the back of your palms. Breathe in. Breathe out. Hands under shoulders. Press yourself back to a child's pose. Knees as wide or as narrow as feels good for you. Letting yourself soften into a shape that feels nice and easy. Hands can rest under your forehead. They can rest back by your heels. Wherever it feels best for you. Handful of breaths here. Next breath, slowly press your upper body out of the shape. Swipe your heels out from under your seat. And returning to that seated forward fold from the start of our practice. Legs extend long, sit up nice and tall. Then fold forward as you're ready, bringing a little or a lot of bend to those knees. Let your upper body be heavy, chest pulling towards the thighs, chin tucks towards the chest. Encouraging your inhales and exhales to lengthen here. On your next inhale, slowly press your upper body out of the shape. Soles of the feet come to the mat. Lower down to a reclined position. Again, similar to the start of class here. Arms can come out to a T or a cactus shape this time. Hips to the right, knees fall towards the left. Recline supine twist. Maybe that left hand rests on your thigh, similar to dancing Shiva. Hands can rest on your belly or gaze over your right shoulder. Handful of breaths here. When your next inhale rolls around, slowly make your way back to center. And then to the other side, hips towards the left, knees towards the right. Can gaze over that left shoulder. Right hand resting wherever it feels good. Breathe here. Next inhale, draw to center. Pulling both knees into the chest for just a moment. Last active shape, forehead up towards the knees. Tight yogi hug. Then extend into Shavasana. Legs extend long. Arms hang heavy. Your only job is to breathe. Let your body soften into this rest, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Body can remain still. If it feels good and is available to you today, you are more than welcome to stay in this place of rest. If it's time to close out your practice, you might start deepening inhales and exhales. Then add in some gentle movements like wiggling fingers and toes or rocking your head side to side, moving at your own pace, making your way to a fetal position on either side when you're ready, and then slowly pressing up to any comfortable seat. Taking your time, moving nice and gentle. Allowing yourself to feel into some gratitude for showing up today, for honoring your body with movement and with rest. We'll close with a collective breath. Can exhale to prepare. Inhale, reach your arms up towards the sky. Exhale, draw your hands back to heart center. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Thanks for being part of this rad community, and I hope you have a stellar rest of your day.